This is a wild report. Kind of a little bit of a tough one because it's so suspenseful, it's so wild, the twists and turns. I'm going to do the best I can with it. You got that clip ready? Good clip, huh? I think we cut it at the right spot. We don't want to make it too scary for the audience. You know what I'm saying? All right, Marvin, let's do it. Good afternoon. I'm Steve S.H. Walters reporting for Breaking News 500 here in beautiful Vero Beach, Florida. Today's topic is the film Psycho. Now, before we get on to Psycho, if you haven't subscribed, folks, just take a second and go ba-bing, subscribe. We greatly appreciate you, and we appreciate our loyal subscribers. Now, without further ado, let's get right to it, because Psycho really is psycho. Psycho was released in 1960, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. You remembered Alfred Hitchcock, right? Good evening. I'm Alfred Hitchcock. Well, he's kind of an interesting guy, and he's a great producer and director, and he did a fantastic job with this film. Now, the film stars Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, Vera Miles, and John Gavin. Now, this is a very interesting, suspenseful horror film, and it's got a great story with a lot of twists and kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. Now, here's the thing. Marion, she's a secretary for a realtor played by Janet Leigh in Phoenix, Arizona. And she just got $40,000 put onto her desk because a customer is buying a house and he's paying cash for it, and he just put the money down cash on her desk. Well, her boss says, take the money to the bank, deposit it, and get that taken care of. And she says, well, I'll do that, but I'm going to go home from there because I don't feel too well. I got a headache. I'm not feeling good. I'll just take the money deposit, go home and rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Her boss says, okay. You trust her. She's been with him 10 years. Well, she doesn't go to the bank. She takes that money. She goes home. She packs some clothes. She got the money. She got the clothes. She's going to run off and see her boyfriend in California. And that's what she does. Well, now on the way to California, she's got caught in a storm, and it's dark out, and she's tired, and she's a little bit stressed. The poor thing, right? So now she ends up at this hotel, the Bates Motel, out in the middle of nowhere in this storm. And it's dark and rainy and kind of eerie and kind of spooky. And there's nobody staying at this Bates Motel. There's only Norman Bates, the owner, and his domineering mother up in the house next door, and Marion, who's going to get a room for the night. So she has a little meal with Norman because he invites her for this meal. And then she goes back to her room to take a shower and relax. And that's where our clip comes in. I can tell you any more. We're going to give you a clip, but we're going to tell you this: viewer discretion is advised. Now, we know you can handle it, but viewer discretion is advised. Okay, Marvin, are you ready? He's ready. Roll the clip. What do you think about that clip? Woo! Well, it's pretty scary. It gets even scarier. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to give you the whole clip because for the people that have not seen the film, because it could go different ways. You can probably figure out what happened, but it can go different ways. Now, Alfred Hitchcock bought the rights to this film from the author of the book, Robert Bolch, for $9,000. He even went out and he purchased a bunch of books, all the books that he could, just to try to keep the ending a surprise from the audience. Even though he was making the film and people didn't know the film was being made, he wanted to make this ending a real surprise as much as he could. So much so that he had his cast and crew, the first day of filming, raise their right arm and swear not to tell anybody a word of the story. Well, he was really adamant about keeping that ending a secret. Now, he even kept the ending a secret from the cast and crew until he was ready to shoot it. And after the film was released, he got an angry letter from a father that said his daughter had seen the film Diabolical in 1955 and she can't take a bath. Now, after watching your film, seeing your movie, she can't take a shower. What am I going to do? Well, he simply wrote back to the father and said, send her to the dry cleaners. So that was pretty good. And Janet Leigh herself, who was in the shower scene, she couldn't take a shower. She ended up taking baths. And she still had an issue closing that shower curtain. Well, I can understand that. Now, doing the stabbing scene and that scene in the shower took them 7 days to film because they had to get the camera angles right, the lighting, there was different issues, B-roll, this and that. And on top of all that, they didn't want to have it too gory with a lot of blood. So what they did was they just used chocolate syrup and sprinkled that around for the blood scene. They were able to get away with it because the film was shot in black and white. They also shot it in black and white to cut the cost down and to give the film more of an eerie and creepy and scary, mysterious, feel to it, which they accomplished that. Now, Alfred Hitchcock wanted to test the fear factor on his actress Janet Leigh with the mother's corpse because there's a corpse of, the mother in the film. So he put this corpse into Janet Leigh's dressing room, didn't say a thing to anybody about it, waited until she returned to the dressing room, and he listened for the screams to see how effective it was. Well, apparently her screams were pretty effective because they had the corpses ready and they used it in the film. And you can see the actual Bates house at Universal Studios Tour in LA. If you take the tour, you'll get to see history about it and see the actual house that was used in the film. Now we've got some special public reviews for you. I don't want to give you critic reviews because I don't agree with critics most of the time anyway. And I think the public is more important because we're the ones that buy the tickets and go spend the money and look at the films. So Marvin, you know what I'm going to ask for? Drum roll, please. Thank you, Marvin. Now let's see what the public has to say. I can't remember everything, so I got to give myself something to read. And there's some interesting reviews here. Are you ready? The public reviews. Okay, our first reviewer says, no matter how many times you sit through the Hitchcock classic, Anthony Perkins always manages to surprise you. It's a sensational performance, and he didn't even get an Oscar nomination. Well, I agree with his performance. He did a fantastic job. Second viewer says, the more I see this, the better it gets. The third viewer says, what can you say about a film that's been talked to death? Just this, if you have never seen it, you owe it to yourself to do so. Not because of the way they pay homage to the true master of a modern film, but because it's so fun to watch. And the last viewer says, the greatest horror film ever made. Well, I don't know if it's the greatest horror film ever made, but I'd say it's one of them because it's done in such a way where it's so suspenseful and it keeps you on the edge of your seat and it's eerie and just everything that goes on in this film. It really was done in a fantastic way. So I would give it, a 10 out of 10 rating, an A+ rating for this film. It's a great, great film. You can see it for free on Internet Archives, and you can see it also on Prime Video, Amazon, and I'm sure a few other places. Now, if you haven't seen the film, go see it. And if you've seen the film, I want to hear your comments. What do you think about this film? What's your favorite scene? Would you go see it again? Most people like to go see it again because the second or third time you see it, you even get more out of it. You even pick up on more things you didn't notice the first time you saw it, and you get more out of the film. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this look back on Psycho, released in 1960, produced and directed by good old Alfred Hitchcock. I'm Steve S.H. Walters reporting for Breaking News 500. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.